Hey guys! Book Dragon Erin here, just rereading my favorite dark romance novel of all time, Savage Vow by Zoe Blake. Marry me, Gregor Ivanov. I swear, if he proposed to me at a formal dinner at 6 p.m., we would be married by midnight. However, there is nothing I can complain about in Savage Vow. It is one of the greatest dark romance novels that I have ever read, and I hope you guys read it too, because I feel like you're missing out if you don't read this book. However, there are some books that are so irritating, and there are other books that have irritating aspects and qualities in the writing. So in today's video, we will be discussing 13 things that I found so irritating in books that I have read before. So yes, this is a book talk tag, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Before we begin, as you can see, I am not in my bedroom office. I am in the living room of my house. I love the lighting, and I just thought the background would be pretty cool, even though you get a look into my hallway. So beside the point, let's get right into the video. Okay, the first thing that I find so irritating in almost any book is female leads who do not have much confidence in their looks. Like Clary Fairchild from The Mortal Instruments. She doesn't think she's gorgeous, but come on. Have you read her description in the book? She has wild red hair and is totally gorgeous, and she is just so beautiful. How can she not think that she is pretty? What I did love about the Throne of Glass series was that Aelin Ashriver Galathinius, she's like, oh my gosh, I am the most gorgeous thing in existence, biatch. I loved that about her, and I loved her confidence. And a lot of these female leads who don't have much confidence, that can be irritating to me. Another thing that I found really irritating in so many books is the character cried wolf scenario. I mean, all I have to say is Don't Stay Up Late by R.L. Stine. That is a typical book that I found extremely irritating because the main character was going through all these fiascos and chaotic events, and it was pretty much a character cried wolf scenario, only it was really happening to her, yet nobody was believing her, so that just made me get really irritated, and that's putting it lightly. Another thing that I occasionally find irritating is books that are in the romance genre but have no romance for our leading ladies, such as the book That Summer by Sarah Dessen. I mean, Haven's character, she's the female lead, she's going through her coming-of-age story, and yet she has no romance at the end of the novel, and it's like, come on, she deserves a boyfriend, and I just want so much good to happen to her that it doesn't happen, which is why I found it annoying. Another thing I find relatively irritating is when characters don't meet until later, and reunions that take forever to get into. I don't want to say this so willingly, but in Three Dark Crowns, triplets Mirabella, Catherine, and Arsinoe don't grow up together after the point of 6 years old and up, and it took forever to get into, and I actually DNF'd the book because it was so slow to me, and I just wanted more action right out of the gate, and I wasn't getting that, so that's why I DNF'd the book. Oh my goodness, the next book is one that I rant about on this channel probably more than I should. I find irritating unfinished plots and loose ends that leave you hanging with no sequels, like Rocks Fall, Everyone Dies by Lindsay Rybar. Aspen has so many loose ends in his story, and the ending where he is reunited with his mother, he asks, hey mom, can I come in? And that's where the story leaves off. We never find out what happens to Leah. We never find out what happens to Brandy and Theo. We never really figure out if Aspen's grandmother I put that in quotes, lives or dies. It's so confusing, yet I do like the book. However, it does take me a while to get over the irritation from reading that book. The one thing that irritates me more than anything else in life and literature is controlling parents. We could be here for a while because I can rant for an hour over After by Anna Todd, 10 After Closing by Jessica Bayless, and Confessions: The Private School Murders by James Patterson. In After, I hated how Tessa was so passive with her mother and how she didn't stand up to her mother for herself until more than halfway through the book. Another reason why I DNF'd that book as well. And then with 10 After Closing, Winnie's parents were so controlling, they tried to write out every single aspect of Winnie's life, and I found that so unfair because we each choose our own destinies, and I hate how that is not taken into consideration in a lot of literature. And then with Confessions: The Private School Murders, oy vey, I had a bit of difficulty reading the book the first time around, even though I did love the book, but the controlling parents, they were drugging their kids to keep them controlled. They did not allow their children to really date who they wanted to date, and I find that so irritating, and I'm gonna be saying that a lot in this video, but that's what this video is all about. Another hit or miss irritation for me is slow burn romances. If the author gives the reader sample tastes of the ice cream of this romance, I am fine with that. But if there's nothing and then there's something immediately afterwards, I'm hit in the face with a ton of bricks, basically, and I have no time to process or digest this intense love scene. Yes, there is restrained passion, which I do absolutely love, but up to a point. There's some irritation that follows if I think two characters should belong together and then never get together, or just have a very slow romance. I also find it irritating when a book or series is so amazing, but has no movie or TV show adaptation. Like A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. All three are so intense, so incredible, and the movies would probably be less perfect than the books themselves. However, I think that movies and TV shows could really bring more awareness to these series and these books, and I think, wow, I would sit down for 12 hours and watch a 12-hour Court of Thorns and Roses movie marathon just for this adaptation of something that I envision in my head. Plus, I see Cassian from the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas as Jason Momoa, and if you know me, you know I love Jason Momoa. Another thing that I find just downright cruel to readers is when the hot guy is killed off. Bringing it back to Jason Momoa, he played Khal Drogo in the Game of Thrones series, and he was killed off in Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire series. Both the TV show adaptation and the books, he was killed off, and I would have loved to see him survive, live, and fight. I didn't think we got enough battle in Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire series, so I really wish that if there was ever a rewrite of Season 8, that somehow Jason Momoa as Khal Drogo would come back, but that's a wish that will never be answered. Another irritating factor is narratives with too much complaining and the poor me concept. I mean, in The Raft by S.A. Bodine, really all Roby seems to do is complain about her hairstyle being too tight, her nose piercing hurting, and the colors of Skittles fading away the longer that she doesn't eat them. I get that you're on a raft in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and have nothing to keep your mind going except these Skittles, but why are you talking so much about the red becoming brown and then the yellow fading, and what the heck? Seriously, there's more important stuff that you should be worried about besides the color of Skittles. I just found that so irritating that, yes, I DNF'd the raft as well because I could hardly stand Roby complaining so much. Also, storylines that cause a divide in fans, it isn't always funny. In the Twilight Saga, fans were divided between shipping Edward and Bella or Jacob and Bella, and when The Hunger Games came out, everyone I knew who read the book was divided between shipping Katniss with Peeta or Katniss with Gale. When I saw the first movie, I thought, okay, Katniss and Gale are perfect together, and then I read the books, and I was like, okay. Another thing that I find irritating and also confusing is horror novels with such disturbing stuff in them that readers wonder what the drugs the authors were on when writing their books. I mean, The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty and It by Stephen King, they both bothered my mom so much that she refuses to let those books in our house. And the movies. I'm not even joking. My mom and I, we love Stephen King as a writer. We might not agree with his politics, but that doesn't detract from our love for him as a writer because he's a really great writer. However, my mom can't get past the intensity of the disturbing nature of these books. So when I go to the bookstore and say, hey mom, I'm gonna buy this book, and it just so happens to be The Exorcist or It by Stephen King, my mom refuses to let me get them even if I'm paying for them myself because she doesn't want that twisted literature in our house. And now for our finale, the 13th thing that I find irritating in books. This is a throwback to my first book review of The Innocent Mage. I find it so irritating where books take forever to get into, and then the climax of this whole book happens on the last page. With The Innocent Mage by Karen Miller, we get 599 pages of fluff and fantasy stuff and politics and everything in this fantasy world, and we are waiting for battles that are like something out of Game of Thrones, and then the climax happens on page 600 and we get nothing afterwards. So I thought that this book could have been written so much better than it was, and I hate saying this about fantasy novels because I am all about fantasy. I just honestly hated the book. I feel like I'm making a literary sin by saying that, but that's the truth. I really didn't like the book, and I honestly don't think I will read the sequel, even though I have it, unless I was planning on ending my BookTube channel, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. Anyway, that is all for today, so if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button to show some support, subscribe to my BookTube channel to get more videos like this. I upload every single Sunday, so hit that notification button to be updated whenever I have a new review video posted. All that said, have a great day, everyone.